The hype surrounding Rune Factory Guardians of Azuma is real. Today we are looking at another interview held by Nintendo Life. This time with the producer Fuji-san, who shares his vision about the game, what features he considers the most essential, and what the romance candidates are like, including his personal favorite picks. Oh, and also, very important, due to the launch of the Switch 2, Guardians of Azuma's new release date is on June 5th now, so mark your calendars. But without further ado, let's check out the interview. Fuji-san shares that the village building mechanic was in the picture from early on, and the whole game was actually built around it from the start. Nintendo Life asks, as a first-time producer for the series, what were you most excited about to bring to the series? Up until now, the main elements of the Rune Factory series were action RPG and farming elements. And this time, of course, there is a completely new setting, the country of Azuma. So this allowed us to introduce the village building elements, which we think are a new element of the game cycle. And that's the biggest new element that we wanted to bring. Village building is one of his favorite features, so it will now be at the core of the game. We will customize our 4 seasonal villages and manage our citizens to do the work for us, rather than taking the more hands-on approach the series previously had. He states, elements like work have been reduced. As you develop the village, more people will come to the village and they can participate in the farming, so there is some degree to which you can assign tasks. Also important to note is that the farming has been intentionally simplified this time in order to reduce stress and make farming feel less of a chore. For me, as a fan of management sims, I love to micromanage systems and people. However, I think this core feature might be dividing the fandom, because I also know people who love farming and who would have preferred a more complex approach. However, Fuji-san seems to hint that farming takes a backseat this time, and everything will be more focused on rebuilding villages and customizing them to our liking. And there is actually another function to the village building, which is to bring the Japanese aesthetics and Guardians of Azuma closer to the players. Fuji-san says, the reason I wanted to do this is because we thought we could recreate the original Japanese landscape. We looked at models of the background and tried to recreate the Japanese architectural style to sort of convey that world to the players. This is a very interesting insight, one that shows, in my opinion, that Guardians of Azuma might have largely been made with the international audience in mind. And there are actually other elements that are meant to increase the Japaneseness. They also added weapons that feel typical for Japan, like the talisman and the bow. But they are not only for the aesthetics. The producer also made sure that they add flexibility and comfort to the combat. We found that adding 2 new ranged options as main weapons would basically give players who weren't necessarily as comfortable with classical action gameplay another option. And I think this was a really smart decision. Rune Factory is a cozy life sim just as much as it is an RPG. And I believe that this will please a lot of casual cozy gamers who prefer a little distance from the heated battle. When it comes to the romance department, we are promised even more depth this time. So, how do the candidates' personalities differ from previous bachelors and bachelorettes? The producer says, with 16 different characters to romance, the personalities are quite varied. Guardians of Azuma features bachelors and bachelorettes with all manners of character arcs. Some are introspective, some are mature, and some are overtly comedic. So there should definitely be at least one character that appeals to each player, if not a lot more of them, because they are all charming in their own way. And for Fuji-san, it was important to craft complex and well-defined characters who feel human and grow as people over the course of the game. Some characters in Guardians of Azuma are grappling with inner struggles such as personal guilt or understanding differing ideologies. It sounds like the character stories will have lots of potential for conflict and drama, which is definitely something that the fanbase has been hoping for, in addition to a more grabbing main storyline. And I am particularly excited to see how they are going to connect the returning characters like Hina to the new setting. When asked what the producer's favorite candidates are, at first he didn't seem to want to give a clear answer. But finally he admits that among the male marriage candidates, his favorite is Kai, and among the female marriage candidates, his favorite is Matsuri. But what do you think about all this? Are you hopeful for the changes that await us in Guardians of Azuma, or are you skeptical? Let me know. But this is it from me. Have a wonderful day and see you for more cozy game content.